Hey there my lovelies, and welcome to my BookTube channel, The Sassy Library Fox. My name is V, and today I'm finally going to talk about my May wrap-up. May wasn't quite a good month for me, and that is probably the understatement of the century, but I only managed to read 3 books in total, and most of that was due to the fact that I was so busy with private life, with work, and I also started physical therapy once again for my shoulder. It got worse, so I had to do something about it, and that drained a lot of energy off me and took a lot of time as well out of my schedule. So yeah, I was basically always falling asleep on my sofa at night and didn't get a lot of reading done, but I managed to read 3 books, and well, I guess I will talk about those 3. They were all pretty interesting and nice reads, so there's that. And I think the worst rating was 3.5 paws, which is great, quite honestly. Okay, so I got my coffee at the ready, and I need it because I slept really badly last night. It's just, I don't know if you know anything about the weather in Austria right now, but it's been so hot those last couple of days, and not the kind of nice hot or dry hot, rather the humid kind of hot, and it's horrible. We always have those humid days when you just walk and you start to sweat, and at the end of the day there comes a huge thunderstorm that throws water at us, and our garage is already underwater. I think the water is that high when you want to go to your car, so it's horrible. It usually takes days for the water to sicker into the ground again, and if this happens, or if hard rain happens regularly and each day like it does at the moment, we have no chance to ever get the water out of our garage. Anyway, enough of that and enough about life updates. Let's just head to the wrap-up of May. And the first book I read in May was I Kissed Sarah Wheeler by McQuiston. And I Kissed Sarah Wheeler was a very interesting read. I rated it 3.5 paws, mostly because I had a couple of issues. One of the main issues that I didn't ship the main couple at all. But I'm getting ahead of myself here, so let's just start and talk about what the book is about. And it's basically about Chloe Green, and Chloe Green is in her senior class. She is graduating soon, and about 1 month before graduation, Sarah Wheeler, her biggest rival and the daughter of the principal of her Catholic school, vanishes and leaves a trail of clues and some sort of scavenger hunt. For Chloe, who was her biggest rival and wanted or fought against her to become valedictorian, and she also includes Smith, who is Sarah's boyfriend. He also doesn't know where she vanished, and Rory, her best friend, or well, the boy next door, you might say. So those 3 people that have absolutely nothing in common are supposed to find the clues Sarah left and to find her in the end. And of course that is keeping them all pretty busy, and a lot of shenanigans and mischief is involved in finding those clues. So yeah, they have a month to find her before graduation. And I think the book was supposed to be rivals to lovers, but it rather felt like enemies to lovers for me personally. And I think what kind of broke the neck of the main couple's love story was the fact that Sarah got into the game so late. We have about 50 to 60% where we don't know where Sarah is and just follow the clues, and we never really get to know her. that kind of made it hard to pull for the love story between Chloe and Sarah, but also the fact that we see everything through Chloe's head, and Chloe really doesn't like Sarah. It's pretty obvious, and quite honestly, Chloe was sometimes a really obnoxious and, I don't know, a character that sits on his high horse and is holier than thou. And you could read that in her thoughts, and that made it really hard to see some sort of connection or love relationship with Sarah. I didn't feel it. That was probably the main problem. And the interesting thing is we have a secondary couple, and I shipped them so much. And we don't even get a lot of them. They are just on the side and running along with the plot. But I shipped them more than the main couple. So yeah, that was the main reason why the book got 3.5 paws. Another reason was that, I don't know, the clues were made really interesting, but Sarah kind of disappointed me when we finally got to see her and the way she acted. And it's basically Chloe and Sarah are both not very likable characters. One of the characters in the book, Rory, even tells Chloe that she's not nice, but that he still likes her because Chloe claims that Sarah isn't nice, and that's basically his comeback. So yeah, I don't know. I just didn't ship them. And yeah, I didn't like Chloe as the main character. She wasn't really likable. And then she did really nice things again, and I was like, oh, she's nice. And then she wasn't. So yeah, I don't know. I had a hard time liking Chloe and the narration of her point of view. Okay, enough of that. That's what I wanted to say about I Kissed Sarah Wheeler. And while the religious aspect was a huge aspect of the book because they are living in Alabama and they are going to a Christian school, and there are a lot of queer kids, but they are all hidden, and Chloe's like the only one who's truly out. And that was interesting. We also have a lot of diversity and nice side characters. We have, I think, 2 non-binary side characters. So that was great. And yeah, I really liked the other things and the other themes the book tackled, but I just couldn't pull for the main character. Okay, let's leave it at that before I continue to babble. I'm gonna take a sip here. Okay, let's see to the second book. The second book I read in May was The Senator by S.P. Fletcher. And I got an ARC of this book, or a review copy at least, because it came out in 2020. And the author said I could read it at my own convenience. And yeah, I'm sorry if you see this S.P. Fletcher, you get a finger heart. I'm so sorry I got to your book so late. You should never tell me to read a book at my own convenience. That was the biggest mistake, or that's the biggest mistake most authors make. Anyway, yeah, personal flaws aside, I really enjoyed that book, and it was so great, and I could bite myself for not reading it sooner, because we followed Jason Jones, and Jason Jones has recently become the senator of Kentucky, and he is going to Washington to change the world. And that was really interesting because, one, Senator Jason Jones is gay, and 2, he wants to bring about change in the parliament, and 3, he has superpowers no one knows about. So that was really funny. We had a strong queer element in that one, and I really liked, I mean, there were quite a couple of steamy scenes. The book actually starts with one. But that kind of caused me to want to continue, so that was great. And Jason doesn't make a secret out of his love life. I really love that. He was totally unapologetic. He was honest. He couldn't be bribed, and he had his principles and values and stood by them. And he had integrity, and I loved that about him. Also compassion for other people. He was a really complex character, and I totally liked that. And then there was also, I mean, we have Jason and his serious background and the reason why he became a senator and decided to change something about the world. It has to do with his original superhero story. I'm not going to spoil anything here, but that part of the book, his past and what caused him to have superpowers, was really serious and in total contrast to the rest of the book, because the rest of the book was some sort of superhero that avenges at night. He discovers pretty fast that the president kind of collaborated with the enemy, and he is trying to solve that problem and lands on the president's blacklist. So he spends the next couple of months at night running through all the senators on his list and all the politicians that are corrupt, and tries to figure out what's going on. And actually, well, he goes on a killing spree, quite honestly, which made him more than just morally grey. He was extremely morally dark when it came to his, let's say, night activities. But that was part of why the book was so fun. I don't know, it was the right mixture of villain slash superhero, tries to change the world and has actually a good heart, but is extremely morally grey. Yeah, I think we can leave it like that. And also we get a lot of steamy scenes with other men, and the humor was great in the book. And quite honestly, if you are frustrated with today's politics and if you want really to read something enjoyable and fun that is dealing with this in a very how to put it, in a very interesting way, you gotta read that book. It was a lot of fun. It came at the right time for me. I really had to read this at the time I read it, and I enjoyed it a lot. I gave it 4 paws, and that says a lot about my enjoyment. And the last book I read in May was You Should See Me with a Crown by Leah Johnson. I have the book even here at the moment because I still didn't return it to the library, and I really love the cover. It's so nice, and I really enjoyed the book as well. I think I gave it 4 paws because it was really great, and I enjoyed the story. We basically have Liz Lighty, and Liz is hoping for a scholarship for Pennington, the school she wants to go to after graduating. And unfortunately that financial aid falls through and she doesn't get it. So she has to think about other ways to go to Pennington and to follow her dreams, and comes up with the idea to run for prom queen, because apparently you get a lot of money when you become prom queen as well. Yeah, so Liz isn't exactly one of the popular kids. She's playing at the orchestra, and she's one of the quiet kids that didn't want to draw a lot of attention because she has anxiety, and that representation was done really well. I loved it about Liz and how she faced her anxiety to follow her dreams. But also she didn't have it easy in her life. Her mom died when she was really young, and I think she had that sickle cell syndrome, or how you call it. And her brother has it too, so the medical bills are pretty high. He ends up in hospital pretty often. And yeah, Liz is constantly worried about him, but still wants to follow her dreams and get money for Pennington. And while she is in the race to becoming prom queen, she meets that girl named Meg, and Meg is amazing and totally throws her off her game. And she develops a crush on her, and apparently the feelings are mutual. So that was really nice to see. And I really like that topic. And quite honestly, Liz's best friend was amazing. I absolutely loved Jordan. He was such a great character, even though we had a really negative impression of him at first, because he's one of the jocks. And yeah, anyway, I'll leave it up to you to discover what is behind that story. But this was such a really nice and wholesome and sweet read, and I totally enjoyed it. I shipped Liz and Meg, and it was a really nice book to read in between, but it also tackled some serious topics which I liked. And yeah, I rated that pretty highly as well. So those were the 3 books I read in May. I might not have read all too many books in May, but the ones I read were great and I enjoyed them a lot. And I would love to hear if you've read any of the books I read and if you like them, or if they are still on your to-be read. And also, I would love to hear what you read in May. And if you read more than me, please tell me you read more than me. What you've been up to and what kept you busy in real life. And yeah, I would just love to hear from you, and I want to thank everyone who's still sticking around on this channel, and also thank you to everyone who recently joined. So yeah, I think we're already at the ending of my video, and there's nothing left to say except of take care, stay healthy and safe, and see you around the next time. Bye!